What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Creatively Driven Podcast. My name is Josh McKenzie, and in this podcast, we talk about anything that inspires us creatively, be that through art, music, photography, videography. The world is your oyster when it comes to creative outlets, I feel. And today we're going to talk about the Northern Lights, or as a lot of my professional photographers call it, by its real name, Aurora Borealis. I I don't know. It seems like the most proper thing to do, and people almost seem to take it like very seriously. And to me, it doesn't really matter to me, honestly. I've called them Northern Lights for a long time. So, anyways, the past few nights, it's just past Remembrance Day here, and so we're second week in November, and I got home and on Remembrance Day there was some green and red Northern Lights. I've seen green ones. I've seen a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, just here and there, not all at once by any means. And I started to see a bunch of people on social media posting it on their stories, and I was like, "Wow, these are pretty intense." It'd be cool to see them, but I just come off night shift and I was pretty tired and had somebody reach out and they're like, "Man, like you should get out and see these." So I said, "Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to." So I went out for a drive, and I didn't have to go far from home to get away from the light pollution, and set up my camera and was there for, I don't know, 10 minutes, but it was crazy. Um, and it kind of leads me to how how much a camera can capture versus what we see with our eyes. Obviously, through the magic of editing, we can emphasize what we see a little bit more and kind of make the picture a little more popping. Um, when I got there, I could definitely see them. They were out pretty good, but as soon as I set my camera down and I looked up at it, and even just then, without actually adjusting my exposure accordingly, um, it was crazy how much I could actually see over what I could see with my eyes. And yeah, I took a handful of those and came back and started editing them, and it was like, wow, like it's one of those wonders of the world where some people haven't had the chance to see them. And I myself am fortunate enough that here in Alberta, they do come around pretty often, honestly. More often than I thought. Being up at work, I'm about 500 kilometers north of Edmonton, and I was able to see them, probably half a week out of my week up at work. So it was really cool, and to be able to have that where some people don't, I think it's kind of a privilege. Um, excuse me. One thing I really do enjoy about the Northern Lights is trying to frame it. If you're actually in a place and you have, a time, there are apps nowadays where you can look up, what kind of activity there is, how far it is. I don't know a lot by the science of it. What exactly is going on for solar storms or whatnot. I've always been more of a kind of go with the flow person, but now that we have these apps, uh, obviously you see things on social media, you're going to want to look and see where it could be. But if you look ahead of time, you can probably actually get things figured out, make a bit of a trip out of it, and, go out and find some place that's new to you, or some place that you think would have a cool effect with Northern Lights being above something underneath it. So the first night with Remembrance Day, it was kind of just out in the field, but it was fitting, honestly. And with the red and the green and a little bit of the city lights in the background, it worked out good. And the next day, again, I saw a couple more people, and it was more almost like a greenish blue. And I thought, you know what, I should probably I should probably do another shot. I should probably take a run out and see it. And again, I went a little bit further out of town, but I looked up and I was like, wow, I think the clouds are kind of screwing me over on this one. So I kept going. I pulled off on a side road, and got out, parked the car on the side of the road, And I kind of looked around, I looked up, and I thought, okay, I see a little bit. I'll see what the camera sees. So I set up my tripod. I just set it up in the field, but I kind of framed the leading lines of the power lines in, and there was a road running this way. And I took like a shot or two, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna work because you've got good lighting. Um, the colors, the sky was a little bit purpley, and then you got the northern lights that were like bluey green and complementary colors. It just looked really good. And then with the long exposure that I was taking, I was probably taking about, I think it was between 6, 8, 20 seconds. I tried different settings, and because there was a busy road there, you get light trails going by. So you get tail lights that stream, and you get that red or headlights coming the other way. And I was trying to luck out with like a tractor trailer because they have rows of lights. Would have made it look a little more interesting. But I wasn't quite successful in that. I was right between when the camera starts or when it's processing the long exposure itself and you review it, and it is what it is. I definitely was not disappointed. I thought that it turned out better than I thought it was going to. Again, especially because if you look up in the sky and if they're not intense, you might be, perturbed. You might think, okay, well, they're not that great. But if you have an actual camera, even phones, I know some people that take some with their phones, and nowadays phones are so good. I hate to say it as somebody who's spent a ridiculous amount of money over the years, but cameras are getting so good in phones that a lot of the times you won't be able to tell the difference between a camera and a cell phone when it comes to northern lights and whatnot. The noise reduction capabilities in cell phones is getting pretty crazy. I think some companies more than others. I want to say Apple does seem to be doing a really good job. I am a Samsung guy myself, although I have an Apple for a work phone, and I feel like their camera is a little bit better than the Android setups. Although I know the Google Pixel is like one of those highly regarded camera phones, and I know some people that swear by it. This guy Jason down in Calgary, he for the longest time was always like kind of doing comparisons and would be like, oh, like I got the new iPhone, doesn't relate to the Pixel for photos, like it's not as good, and kind of gave the highs and lows of it. He's also a photographer, but it was really hilarious to kind of see the dissection of the different cameras, because us photographers, we kind of get to be quality whores, it's it's so hard to beat the full adjustment and different glass on cameras with the lenses. But anyways, I digress. So yeah, after I ended up framing things up and I got the power lines and whatnot, I turned around to my Tahoe, which is an old girl, but I turned around. I thought it looked pretty fitting that it was just kind of down a back road. So I did a couple shots and looked up, and everything turned out really good. The Tahoe was like a dark blue, so with the blue and purple in the sky and everything, it definitely was complimentary. I thought it was one of those chances that I took that I walked away with something really cool, and I'll probably end up printing something off of those, honestly. Even just looking straight up and being able to kind of see the designs that the Aurora produced by itself. I think those are some of the coolest photos. I've seen a lot in the mountains, and I feel like I've maybe only seen them a few times, if that, in the mountains, but I never was out with my camera, so I never had the opportunity to kind of capitalize on the surroundings of the mountains and just having this additional amazingness on top of those, because when I'm in the mountains, I can literally walk around forever with my camera. I actually have like a passion project that I want to do for myself, that I want to go out and shoot a bunch of video. And I know the song and everything. I've had it picked for years, too long, quite honestly. It's something I really do need to bring to fruition. It's been in my head for a long time, and there are just so many amazing places in the mountains. You don't have to be at just one. I would like to get many different places, and with me having a drone license, I know I can be outside of the national parks, and try to get some photos and video footage in places that they are legal. So those are things that I definitely want to do. So if you've seen the Northern Lights, I want you to let me know. Let me know what colors you saw. If you haven't seen them, let me know where you think would be a cool place to see them. I've seen them back in Ontario. I remember a long, 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 long time ago. I was young. I was less than 10, I think. And that was the first time I saw them, and I was blown away. But still, it still floors me. I'm Nature has so many wonderful things to me that I think that's part of the appeal of photography as well, is that the world is a beautiful place and it has so many crazy things that are not unexplained because they are explained, but if you don't look into them, they're almost baffling. There's something that it reels you in, and you want to cherish it. So to me, documenting those through photography or through video is another way to keep it alive, and keep it living on and showing other people, because not everybody can be in the same place as you at that time. So having those keepsakes around is going to really just keep that alive and thriving in your mind and your heart. Um, so yeah, if you have ever thought of a place where you wanted to go with Northern Lights, and some place where you think it would be cool that you haven't been to, let me know in the comments. The mountains is definitely the bucket list. I've had a couple of different shots that I really want to bring to fruition, but I'm not there long enough when I am there to kind of weigh out the different options for the lighting and how things are going to fall for the weather, because the weather does change quite differently there. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for this one, maybe a short one, but I'm back in the studio, if you want to call it that. And yeah, no more action cam podcast for the time. You never know. Might make a comeback. Let me know what you thought of those as well. Um, Spitballing while you're driving, it's a bit of a different element, but I enjoyed the challenge. I thought that it was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend and getting ready for your work week. But thanks for continuing to follow along. Subscribe for more Creative Fire, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.